Hey y'all, this is Mrs. Prep and Plumber. I'm just going to give y'all a rundown of how Mr. Prep and Plumber does his dry canning of rice and beans. We're going to go ahead and get started. You'll need how many pounds of beans and rice that you have, depends on how many jars you'll need. We have 6 half-gallon jars, and of course all the canning stuff that you need. And I'll let Mr. Prep and Plumber take over from here. I'm just going to kind of record what he's doing as the process goes.
Hey everybody. So what I figured up is 6 half-gallon jars usually will do like close to 20 pounds of rice. You might have a little bit left over. Same thing with beans, which I don't buy. The beans we got were in 8-pound bags. So we're going to see how far that goes because I haven't bought it like that before. First process by far is to wash everything. We've got these washed. I've got them drying on some drying racks because they might have some type of chemical sprayed on them. People might have touched them. It might have some kind of mechanical process, you know, where they shrink wrap the box or they do this or do that. You don't want none of that on your jars. I've seen some people that, oh no, we just take them straight out the pack and sterilize them. I don't do that. So you wash everything first, wash all the utensils and everything. And then over here, we have my tamale pot. And the reason why I'm using my tamale pot is because it was the closest one I could get to. Instead of pulling out water bath canners and so on and so forth. So, in the sterilization process, this is just filtered water, Berkey water, and it is got just a little bit of vinegar in it. Because
and we just use any type of vinegar. This is what we use.
Because the vinegar is antifungal and so on and so forth. So what you do in the first part, after everything's washed and cleaned and so on and so forth, you put them down in there, lid down, like the threaded part down. And when you do that, the steam comes up inside the jars. Now my tamale pot can hold 4 half-gallon jars right away. The main reason why we want to do this video is just, sorry I got water everywhere, is for the fact that, you know, I've seen people on videos and stuff and they'll be like, she's changing flashes and everything.
Sorry, y'all.
But I see a lot of comments, oh, well, you know, I'm saving up to get a vacuum sealer and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. We're doing this video with 2 cases of jars, some groceries. I do have the little funnels and stuff like that you can pick up at Walmart for a couple bucks, a little accessory kit. But this is a pot we already had. I make homemade tamales, like I said. Y'all, I've mentioned it in the comments I don't know how many times. My old lady has got Spanish in her, 3 types of Indian in her, so, you know, we do a whole lot of Mexican food, Spanish style dishes and stuff like that. Me, I love Creole food. So we always have this kind of stuff going on around the house. But any big stock pot that you can fit a jar in, we'll sterilize the jar. So I've got 4 going here. I'm going to let them go for about 10 minutes. Make sure they get good and sterile. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on one of the baking racks that we're using for drying. One of these. Alright, all these, they'll come into play here in a little bit. But I'll put them on this baking rack and I'll set them in the oven on 250 and I'll dry them out. You know, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I'll dry them out on 250 to make sure there is no moisture whatsoever on the glass. And then we'll come back and I'll show you the process from there. You gonna pause it? All right, y'all. So the last 2 jars have been sterilizing for, let me cut that timer off. Have been sterilizing for a while. And what I'm gonna do is I just move them.
And y'all need to be super careful because these are extremely hot.
Yeah, 200-300 degrees. And I just move them into on the bake pan with all the rest of the jars that are drying in the oven. So I'm gonna cut this off for a little bit. I done made a mess again, as always. And then you let them dry in the oven. I got my oven set on 250. I let them dry for 20-30 minutes. Just watch them. Oh, it was on.
I think when you cut the timer off, it.
Oh, I set my oven to about 250, somewhere around in there. And dry the jars. Because the one thing you don't want if you're dry canning anything is any moisture. Because if you have moisture and you put rice in it, then your rice starts swelling up. It'll go bad. So this, like I said, this is more primarily a video. Because you hear people all the time, oh, well, I don't have a vacuum sealer. Oh, well, I don't have this. Oh, well, I can't afford some oxygen absorbers off of Amazon, and so on and so forth. I'm getting ready to put up 20 pounds of rice, 20 pounds of beans, with nothing except some jars and normal kitchen stuff. So that's the whole purpose of this video is there's really no excuse for people not to put up food. Not to try to start and prepare, especially with the way the world's going. So we're going to let what's in the oven dry out. When they're dry, I'm going to transplant them back over here to my work area on the table. And then we'll show y'all how to load the jars of beans and stuff, and then we'll go back into the canning process. So we'll be back on here in just a minute. Alright, y'all. The jars are hot. They're cooling off. They're getting close to, touchable. I know people's going to say, oh my God, he touched the lid. Oh, this, that, and the other. They're getting ready to go back in the oven for another hour and a half. So, alright, now what you want to do here, at this point in the game, take your little funnel and take your beans, and we got another run of jars drying out in the oven right now. Because, like I said, we're putting up 20 pounds. 20 pounds of rice and about 20 pounds of beans.
What is it, like 16 pounds of beans, I think? Something
Well,
like that.
we got 16 pounds of beans, but I got more in the cabinet we can add.
Yeah.
If I keep spilling them, we ain't gonna have no beans. But
It's a good thing you got more in the building.
yeah, that's how we roll around here. One good thing I was gonna tell y'all while in the middle of doing this, sanitary issues is gonna become a big problem. People ain't gonna have ways to wash dishes and this, that, and the other. But see it right there.
Got a rock in there.
Right there. Y'all need to pay attention. If you notice, while I pour slow, I watch as I'm pouring. I don't just dump it straight in. I pour slow. That way I can watch. Because if I see anything dark, black, whatever,
And we
there it
also.
is. And I'm gonna be honest. This is one of probably the 5 rocks that I found in beans. People, gotta look your beans, this, that, and the other. Well, nowadays with the food processes and such, they're a whole lot better about not getting rocks in beans. But I have found them. And don't nobody want a dental emergency in the middle of doing beans. I'm gonna go over here and grab this other bag.
And we also froze the beans and the rice for, what was it, honey? A couple
72
days?
hours.
72 hours.
I know if you're doing Mylar, it's good to either heat the beans in the oven or yes, JJ Heckle knives. No, I am not funded by these folks in any way. In fact, I actually bought the set of knives for like $3 at the Goodwill. But they are the best kitchen knives in my opinion. But, and I know people, there I go, spilling them all over everywhere again.
You're all the time spilling the beans.
Really? So, anyway. But, back to what I was saying about the whole sanitation issues. People ain't going to be able to wash stuff, this, that, and the other. If you take a man-sized hand of beans, a man-sized hand of rice. Now, I am 6'4". I am not a little boy. But if you got, you know, them grown men hands, one handful of dried rice, one handful of dried beans will fill up, hang on, I'll show you. Will fill up a bowl this size all the way to the top. That right there is a full meal. If you got 6 people in your group, you use 6 handfuls of rice and 6 handfuls of beans, and you cook them, that's a good indicator. And the other thing I wanted to get into, I feel that in a little high. The other thing I wanted to get into, and this is not here nor there. A lot of people, you know, hey, we're going to put up 5-gallon buckets of Mylar bags and this, that, and the other. Here, we prefer this method. And I know people spend a lot of money in jars and so on and so forth. There I go, spilling more beans. A lot of money in jars and this, that, and the other. And that's, oh, well, you know, you don't really have to do all that and so on and so forth. Well, the reason why I like beans is, or using jars is, because, yeah, I messed that one up good. I'm talking and getting ahead of myself. Is, that you can take these jars, and after they're open, I'm gonna fill that other one up with some beans. Hang on, I got beans there. Let me double check. Yeah, that's the beans. Because I'm gonna go ahead and store these. But if you do them in half-gallon jugs, like so on and so forth,
They're about good.
yeah.
We only like to fill them up to probably like right here at the neck.
To be technical, and I'm gonna sit right here on my little chair. To be technical, you can use your little headspace checker and get you 3/4 to an inch of headspace. What I found is if you shake them, you get them pretty good and full, and you shake them, see how they'll drop down right there to that bottom lip? That's good enough. Some people make this whole canning deal and this, that, and the other into some big old huge science experiment. But if you shake them a little bit, they'll get down there low enough where they don't cause a problem. Like I said, we're dry canning. It's not like headspace is some big, huge issue. But if you use half-gallon jars or quart jars or whatever, when you open these things up and you start cooking out of them, one, you didn't have to open up 20 pounds at a time. You opened up this. If all these are stored locked in a building somewhere and somebody comes rolling up into your house trying to take your food, you're only going to give them half a gallon. Maybe less. Here you go, this is all the food we have, take it. So I like doing it like this. Plus, after you open them, after you break the seal and you start using them, if you take a couple bay leaves and just set on top, put the seal and the ring back on it and tighten it down, bugs will not get in that. They will not go past a bay leaf to get in it. So, I mean, then you can keep it on the shelf for a long time just like that. You know, if you're not eating beans and rice all the time, you're mixing it up with some August and Farm or some Ready Wise or whatever.
Our other jars just come out.
Yeah, we're getting down to the nitty gritty on the jarring. I'm going to throw these. And like I said, y'all be very, very mindful. They're very, very hot. And they will burn the living piss out of you. But me being a welder, I don't really flinch when I get burnt.
And me working in a commercial kitchen.
Yeah, I mean,
it is what it is. We get burnt, we go on about our way.
Yeah, so I mean, I
Honey,
don't...
hit that timer button.
Oh, yeah.
Or else they're going to hear beeping the whole video.
So, I don't want to, you know, tell anybody to do something that's going to hurt themselves or this, that, and the other. But we're just used to getting burnt around here. I mean, it just is what it is. So, how this is going to play is we've got the other ones drying right now. And people are going to say, oh my God, he left them sitting on this thing. They're going to be in the oven for an hour and a half at 250. That'll dry out any moisture in the beans. It also re-sterilizes the whole jar, so on and so forth. So we're going to let those go and dry out in the oven for 20 minutes. And then we're going to take them, set them out. We'll put these in for an hour and a half. Then, once that hour and a half's up, these are ready to come out. Then we'll take those 6 cans and start the rice to get all it stored. So we'll be back here in a little bit and show y'all the finished product. Hey y'all, we're back. We're still doing the process here. We got 6 half gallons. Oven is preheated to 250. We're going to throw these in here on this rack. And all I'm doing is using, you can see it kind of flop sideways. That's a bake pan with a,
oh, be careful.
Yeah, this done got crooked. Alright, just chill. Yeah, that's one.
Like we said earlier, we're kind of used to it.
Yeah,
we just do what we do.
So, then you put...
I'm just going to stay right here, y'all, instead of trying to go back and forth and showing y'all him getting cans.
You mean jars?
Jars, yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah, that's what you mean. Alright, so then I'll put them on that thing right there because they'll sit there even. Oven's on 250. We'll set a timer.
For an hour and 20?
Hour and a half.
Okay.
And I do an hour and a half because, well, yeah, she's right. Never mind. I'm completely wrong. You do an hour and 20 minutes, and then you put the seals in there for the last 10 minutes. That way they can get hot and up to temperature. So, yeah, you do it for an hour and 20 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes, put your seals in there. So these are all sterilized and still warm. As soon as they cool down close to room temperature, we're going to pack them with rice and go through the same process. Thank you. Contact. Do we have contact? Are we live?
Yeah.
Okay. So what y'all didn't see me do, because my old lady had to go. You know, got to go take a pee.
It's called Arkansas.
Yeah, well, I wash my hands, hot water, disinfectant, soap, and this, because this is very important at this step. So, we sterilized our jars, we cooled the jars, we filled the jars, we put them back in the oven on 250 for about an hour and a half. Now, in the meantime, what y'all didn't see is I done this. before about 10 minutes, before it's done, I put the seals and stuff in the oven so they could heat up to about 250. That way it sterilizes those. Now this right here is the fast moving part of this, and if you're real sensitive to pain and so on, I wouldn't recommend it. But this is how we do it. So you open the jar or the oven, you grab a jar, put it here, grab a lid. Do not put your fingers on the seal or on the top of the jar. That's the reason why you wash your hands, because if you have any facial oil or anything on there, it won't seal. So then you grab the hot jar with the hot seal and the hot lid and you crank it down. Alright, do another. And just to let everybody know, you get these rags. I keep these rags everywhere, all the time. We buy them at Sam's Club. I think it's 60 of them for a like $15, something like that. But these white terry cloth rags wipe this jar off. My thumb slipped and hit the ring of it. So you put that on there, and you can use your little magnetic things and this, that, and the other. There's 100 different ways to skin a cat, and you all end up with skinned cat. We all like Chinese food. So, but this, set that there, is how you do it. Get them dry packed. And we're going to do the rice just like this and so on, but we probably ain't going to video that. This video is getting kind of long. It's about 20 minutes now. So I'll show you how to do it with the beans and the rice. You do the same way. 250, about an hour and a half. Pull it out, so on and so forth. That wasn't good. About dropped that. So on and so forth. And as these things cool, the lids will suck down and seal. If they don't seal, then you take your vacuum lid sealer and seal them. Like I said, this is a video of just how to basic dry pack, no vacuum sealer, no oxygen absorbers, no nothing, and you can still be putting what?
I was just gonna have you back up a little bit.
Oh, and you can still be putting food up. Now, I spoke a while ago, 1 hand of rice, 1 hand of beans equals 1 person. Now, people here in the South, we like to put fat back, country ham, ham bone, so on and so forth in our beans. But I want to tell y'all an alternative when it comes to cooking dried beans and rice. You need oils to cook it and this, that, and the other. Everybody needs protein sources and all that. If you take it while you're cooking your beans and you go, because every prepper I know stocks peanut butter. I mean, stocks a lot of it. Go take your big old glob of peanut butter and throw it down there in them beans. That'll give it all the oils and everything, and it don't change the taste. I know Prepper Nation uses peanut butter in his oatmeal, but in a pinch, if you ain't got no oil, you ain't got no meat, fat, nothing like that, you can do it with some peanut butter. And we've done it for a long time, and it's good. It's really good. So, just something else for y'all to think about. Like I said, these will cool. As they cool, the tops will suck down. You'll be able to take the rings off and check it and make sure it's sealed. And if any of them don't seal, then we'll get our vacuum sealer and do it. But these will be next. And like I said, to keep the time length on the video, you just put those in the oven, 250, hour and a half, same way you do the beans. And we'll do those too. So, anyway, this is Prepping Plumber. This is how we dry pack beans, rice, your staples, so on and so forth. And this is going to be my old lady's first video. Y'all have a wonderful day.